It's a great honor for me to be here today because I've been asked to testify or give the testimony of the sign of Jonah as Luke left it for us to discover. I didn't know him, and I must say I certainly know the story that he left for us that has a profound impact on me, and I wish that he approves of the way I tell it to you now. You see, it was one of his very last words that he said to his mother the evening before he left us, and that was, "Mom, remember the sign of Jonah." So this is a gift from Luke to you. Now, what is the sign of Jonah? It's an overlooked book in the Bible. We have the story of Jonah, who was told by God to go to the city of Nineveh and testify of God, to preach of God. And he said, "No, that's a wicked city. I don't want to go there." And he left off sailing with a crew. And as he was in the sea, a very bad storm hit them. And when the crew found out that Jonah was the reason for the storm, what did they do? They threw him off board. So he then was swallowed by a very large fish that many believed to be a whale. Couldn't have been anything else than a whale swallowing a man. And he was inside the belly of the whale for 3 days. After 3 days, he was spit out on the shores. After that, he left for Nineveh and did the job that God had appointed to him. So he completed his mission. And I think the 3 days is significant. It is definitely significant when we see it in the light of what Jesus told the Pharisees when they asked him for a sign. "Give us a sign of the coming kingdom of God." And he told them that a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, but they shall be given no sign except for the sign of the prophet Jonah. That's the sign they were going to be given. The wicked generation was going to be given this sign. The context in the Bible is that the Pharisees are again testing Jesus and saying, "Well, give us a sign. Well, prove this, prove that." In this situation, they were asking for a sign of the coming kingdom of God. And Jesus told them that basically that they were fools, that they knew the signs in heaven, but they didn't know the signs of the times they were living in. They didn't know that Messiah was standing right in front of them. But Jesus was speaking to them, but when he said, "A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, but they shall be given no sign except for the sign of Jonah." That's, by the way, Matthew 16:4. He was speaking about a wicked generation. What is a wicked generation? Well, we believe it's us. So many signs have been given, or let's say that so many signs have been seen. This is something else I thought about. Well, there's many signs we were told to look for, like there will be wars, there will be natural disasters, there will be famine, there will be illnesses, there will be wars and rumors of wars, People will be self-loving, loving money. These are signs that we see heavily in our times. That's what Luke also said, that I think that when he told the sign of Jonah to his mum, he also said that, remember the sign of Jonah as meaning there were other signs as well, but those signs have been before in history. You can say there's always been wars, there's always been famine, there's always been this and that, but Jesus actually gave one more thing. He said that children will raise up against their parents, and that is something that no other generation than ours has seen. So all the signs Jesus told us to look for are there in our time. They are all there. For the first time in history, children are reckless and rebellious towards their parents. And we see all these other signs. We see the natural disasters increasing in intensity and number. However, the sign of Jonah is not a sign we were told to look for. They're not among those other signs that I spoke of. This was a given sign. And this is the only sign this wicked and adulterous generation shall be given. I hope you see the difference there. Well, something significant happened in 2010, May the 10th. A grey Atlantic whale was seen offshore Israel. It was a discovery which has been said to be the most amazing discovery in the history of whales. That's Robert Brownell who said that, and he's a prominent whale scientist. There is a scientist called Elisa Schulman who runs the grey whale census and a behavior project for the American Whale and Dolphin Society. And she said that this discovery of this whale outside Israel was equivalent of finding a dinosaur in your back garden. It was that amazing. Now, why was it that amazing? It's because the grey Atlantic whale has been extinct in these waters for about 300 years. This is a species that is only found in the South Pacific, that's on the other side of the globe. So finding a whale in the Mediterranean off the coast of Israel was absolutely amazing. And what did it do? It came there, it stayed for 3 days. It made its presence known to everyone for 3 days. And it splashed around. You can see these videos that people have made of the whale. It brings great joy. People are very happy to see it. They're filming it. The whale is playing around. It's making its presence known in this way. And then after 3 days it disappeared. Scientists followed it. They thought maybe it had swum there below South America, the tip of South America, or someone else thought it might have swum through the Panama Canal, which is quite narrow, very unlikely. But however, this whale after 3 days disappeared, and scientists followed it, and it started to swim up north towards the North Pole, and then they lost track of it. So this whale had made an incredible journey for no apparent purpose. Just came there to make its presence known, to play around, jump in the water, splash, make sure people saw it. And then scientists had a closer look at this, and they discovered that it was 40 feet long. That number 40 could be significant in a way that 40 is a number we see in the Bible. In the Jews were in the desert for 40 years. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights when Noah was in the ark. Jesus was resurrected, and then he stayed for 40 days before he ascended to heaven. So 40 is a significant number in biblical terms. And because the whale's age is determined by its size, scientists could work out that the whale was about 62 years old. Now, at the time in 2010, Israel was 62 years old. The Jews had to leave 70 years Anno Domini, when the Romans destroyed the city, and in 1948 they were back. They were claiming back their land. So in 2010, the nation of Israel was 62 years old, exactly the same age as this great grey whale. And then there was another discovery, also in Jerusalem, also made during this time of the sighting of the grey whale. Only 1 month after it, like God made sure that, hey, you got the sign, but, do interpret it the right way as well. A team of archaeologists had found a tomb they found interesting. They had found it already in 1981, but it was only in 2009 and 2010 that they got the license to research it and excavate it. In June 2010, they managed to make this amazing discovery of a sealed tomb, never been opened before, never been heard of before. And what they found inside the tomb was coffins of a family, and on one of those they found the earliest iconic symbol of the resurrection. It is an image of a whale and a man being spit out from the whale, and then there is a Greek text below saying in Greek, they haven't worked it all out, but it does say Yahweh raise up, or raising up to the holy place. So there's one more thing in the image. There's two Marys and Joseph, and this image is believed to be found on the coffin of, it's not called coffin, it's called something else, of someone called Joseph. So you had two Josephs there as well. And it is the earliest testimony of the resurrection, possibly made by someone who knew Jesus. It is dated to the 1st century, so it predates all other known drawings of the resurrection. It is an absolutely amazing discovery made in Israel, found in Jerusalem, made by the Jews at the time that lived when Jesus walked the earth. So these two signs combined together should say something. You work it out. Be blessed.